Hey guys, I noticed that there are a lot of new people who want to learn about chess or want to ask questions about chess on my Twitch channel. Now, I usually don't do super educational streams, and I usually just play games like chess or even other games like League. So instead, I wanted to guide you guys a little bit in the right direction for chess on my YouTube channel, where if you guys have any additional questions, please feel free to ask them in the comments. And, if you are a beginner chess player, I hope this video helps you out a little bit. One of the questions I always get asked is, how do I get started in chess? Well, if you are completely new to the game and you have never ever played chess before, I would highly recommend getting an account on chess.com. And the reason that chess.com is so good is because it offers a lot of free lessons, it has puzzles, it has playing against bots, and it has playing against the pool or humans, and a lot of other resources for you to learn the wonderful game of chess. There are also a lot of other sites out there that you can seek out yourself, such as Lichess, but I do highly advise you to use chess.com, and if you are going to sign up with chess.com, you can also go to the link below and use my code. The second question I get asked the most is, what time control should I play? I will highly recommend anybody who is starting out in chess or is approaching chess with the intent to improve to play rapid games. And rapid is usually anywhere around 10-0 or more, and it is also totally fine to run out of time when you're first starting out in chess. I always like to say, if you are trying to learn, it is better that you are thinking about your moves than just making moves and hoping you win the game on time. Playing rapid means that you have more time to think, you can process your moves, and after the game, you can even analyze your thought process. If you don't want to play rapid, or if you want to play something with a shorter time control, the second time control I would advise you to play is Blitz. Now, Blitz is a little faster, and I've heard from a lot of people that it's a lot harder to get the moves out in time, and it feels like their brain freezes or whatever it is. I also don't want you to worry too much about running out of time in Blitz if you're newer to the game and you're just starting out. Once again, when you're beginning in chess, the most important thing really is to just get your thought process correct. Think about why you're making that move. Think about if your opponent can capture your piece on this move, and all of those little things that I'll add at the end of the video. The one time control I never want you to play is Bullet. And Bullet is the time control that you might see people play, including myself. I mostly play Bullet on my channel, where people come in, they're like, I don't understand what's happening here. I love chess, but how do you do this? And honestly, the answer to that is, I'm not thinking about my moves at all. At all. I have played chess for a very long time, and if you are trying to play your moves as fast as I am, you might be faced with different results. And I don't think Bullet's good for your chess at all. Perhaps, increasing the speed at which you can do solve tactics. I don't think it's that good for you. So I would highly recommend you to stick to Rapid and Blitz. Another question I commonly get asked is, should I play against bots? And honestly, I don't think it is a good idea for a beginner to train exclusively against bots. You might want to play against bots to practice some of your openings or, something along those lines. But for the most part, the bots are not programmed to play like real human beings, and especially if you've recently challenged middens, you know how difficult it can be. No human is going to play at the level of middens when you're playing in the pool. So my advice to you is that you should always be trying to seek out human opponents, whether or not it's in Rapid or Blitz or even in daily chess. It's probably a lot better for your chess to play against humans. Alright, we're starting to get a little bit more advanced here. Another common question I get asked is, what is the best opening for beginners? And I have to admit, there are a lot of resources out there for you to learn whatever opening you would like. No matter what rating you are, there is an opening guide out there for you. For the most part, What I am going to recommend you is an opening that you are comfortable with. And this might sound really corny, but surprise, different people like to play different openings, different people like to play different structures. I think finding an opening that suits you is a little bit of a trial and error, and you might get really frustrated by losing a lot of games at the start. But there's some basic openings that can get you started, and those are, for example, the London, the Caro Kann, you've got the Spanish up there. Some openings that I would recommend you to stay away from are the really complicated theoretical ones, such as the Sicilian. I also highly recommend you to choose openings based on your personal interest and not necessarily what you see everybody else play. You might see an opening and think it's really, really cool and then get, in all of these really difficult positions where you just keep losing over and over again. It is totally okay to lose, but if you get frustrated, you can consider changing your opening. This sort of ties into our next question. What are some resources for learning chess? Well, I can highly recommend looking up videos on YouTube. There's infinite of them. There's also a lot of really good chess lessons offered by chess.com if you have the premium membership. And there's also Chessable courses through which you can learn openings. Additionally, I can also recommend my own courses, which are also linked down below, to learn either openings or tactics, and maybe even a bit of both. I think there's a lot of material out there, and you don't really need to hire a coach or anything like that until you reach a certain level. For now, what I would recommend is a little bit of self-learning, doing tactics on your own. Don't forget to do your tactics. You get a certain amount of free puzzles per day on chess.com. I would highly recommend you to do all of those. And if you need additional puzzles, you can also check out free sites like Chess Tempo, which has unlimited puzzles. Honestly, you can learn chess however you would like to. Some people really like to just play out multiple games a day. Some people really like to just do puzzles and Puzzle Rush and survival on chess.com and all of that stuff. But I will advise you, if you're only playing chess, you might hit a cap at some point and it'll be really hard to progress from there. So I do recommend learning some basics and learning some openings and all of the tactical patterns. Alright, I am going to finish off this guide with a very, very basic lesson for you. There's really only 3 things that I want you to remember out of the opening, and I can show it in a minute. The first lesson is to always control the center. And by center in chess, we mean these 4 squares. So you always want to be putting pieces towards the center, putting pawns towards the center, and there's a lot of ideas out there that all revolve around the center. So that's the number 1 thing I want you to remember. The second thing I want you to remember in chess is to always develop your pieces in the opening. If you don't bring out your army, then how are they going to be able to work for you, right? So you always want to somehow be moving your pieces out. And the opening that I just played over here is called the Spanish. Notice how both players are constantly trying to get their pieces into the middle of the board, developing off of the back rank. And the back rank is just this. The third most important rule of the opening is that you should castle as quickly as you can so that your king is in safety. Now, if you castle and you get checkmated, don't come back to me and tell me that it's my fault. I told you to castle as quickly as you can. Use your own judgment. Obviously, you can also castle on the opposite side of the board if you would like. But do use your own judgment. For the most part, though, castling as quickly as you can is good for your position. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and this is my guide for beginners for getting into chess. If you have any additional comments or questions, feel free to leave them down below and I'll do my best to get to them. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a thumbs up as well as subscribing to the channel. Thank you so much for watching.